Coming up on Around San Diego, we take a closer look at close calls at San Diego International Airport as the FAA investigates runway mishaps all across the U.S. And the CDC was in the South Bay interviewing residents and learning about the health impacts from the border sewage crisis. All those details ahead. Plus, we are learning more about a nasal spray that can treat people in anaphylactic shock, and it was developed right here in Sereno Valley. Around San Diego starts right now. Hello to you and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us as we take you around San Diego. I'm CBS 8's Jenny Day. I'll get you caught up on a week's worth of news and look ahead in less than 30 minutes. We do start, though, on the runway, where the FAA is taking a closer look at landings across all U.S. airports, including San Diego International. Last week, 2 Southwest airline jets were cleared to enter the San Diego runway at the same time. CBS 8's David Godfredson takes a closer look at those recent close calls.
San Diego is just a disaster waiting to happen.
On Tuesday, the FAA announced it is opening an audit into runway incursion risks at the 45 busiest airports in the United States, including San Diego International. Veteran pilot and flight instructor Robert Katz says it's about time.
I wouldn't take my airplane into Lindbergh Field. In fact, the runway at Brown Field is longer than the one here at Lindbergh.
Katz calls San Diego Airport dangerous, partly because a parking garage in the approach to Lindbergh Field shortens its usable runway length.
They can't touch down at the beginning of runway 27. They have to touch down after you see those oval loops. That's called the displaced threshold. And that shortens the runway by almost 2,000 feet.
He says Friday's near miss at San Diego Airport, when a Southwest Airlines flight was cleared to cross the runway at the same time another Southwest jet was cleared to take off, is not unusual. Another near miss happened on August 11th of last year. A Cessna Citation cleared for landing flies about 100 feet over the top of a Southwest Airlines passenger jet waiting to take off. Since August 2023, there have been at least 8 runway incursions at San Diego Airport, according to an FAA database.
Good morning, Tower. Delta 2287, RNAV, runway 9.
Including this incursion on February 6th, animated by VAS Aviation. The pilot of Japan Airlines Flight 65 mistakenly taxis onto the main runway after Delta Flight 2287 was cleared to land.
Japan 658, hold position, hold position.
Hold position, Japan 65.
Delta 2287, go around.
Japan 65 Heavy, we're not authorized on the runway. It looks like it's a little too late. You were authorized on the taxiway Bravo. Do you understand the instructions?
Yes, I'm sorry, Japan 65.
David Godfredson, CBS 8.
Yikes, David, thank you. Well, now to a decades-old high-profile double homicide. Relatives of the Menendez brothers are speaking out, calling for the siblings to be freed from prison. 35 years ago, Eric and Lyle Menendez killed their parents in their Beverly Hills home. Recently, a letter written by Eric Menendez emerged, which described the abuse he suffered at the hands of his father. The brothers' family says it is time for their release.
Over time, it became clear that there were 2 other victims there on that day.
Lyle and Eric have already paid a heavy price, discarded by a system that failed to recognize their pain.
Yeah, so the Los Angeles District Attorney has confirmed his office is looking at that new evidence and will determine if the brothers will get a new trial or be resentenced. They are currently serving life sentences here in San Diego County. Well, now to a new lawsuit that's been filed over the ongoing sewage crisis in the South Bay. Viola Water is accused of mismanaging the sewage treatment plant on our side of the southern border. The suit claims the company is responsible for more than 500 illegal discharges since 2018, resulting in more than 1 billion gallons of sewage flowing into the Tijuana River and Pacific Ocean. The suit was filed on behalf of people who live in Imperial Beach who say their lives have been greatly affected.
Time stepping outside, smelling incredibly foul odors. They don't have access to their beaches. They don't have access to their public spaces.
Yeah, so Veolia Water tells us the allegations are meritless. They also say most of the pollution comes from uncontrolled sewage flows from Tijuana, much of which they say never enters their South Bay plant. Meanwhile, more than 200 people in the South Bay are being interviewed finally by the CDC to learn more about possible health impacts from this sewage crisis. It's called the Casper Survey. 35 CDC employees were thankfully out in the area this week to speak with those people and investigate the issue. The questions were focused on air and water exposure and the health issues people living there are experiencing. We spoke with the CDC about what they will do with the results from this survey.
Hope to be able to synthesize the information collected and share some high-level kind of information with the county leadership.
Yeah, so IB Mayor Paloma Aguirre tells us this is long overdue, but she is hopeful the CDC conducting this survey will bring some change. Well, a new state law that aims to keep prices at the gas pump from rising dramatically. This gives the state's Energy Commission the authority to require oil refiners to maintain minimum level of gasoline on hand. Now, supporters say this will prevent sudden price increases in case refineries go down for either planned or unplanned maintenance. After signing the bill into law, Governor Gavin Newsom had harsh words for the oil industry.
Polluted heart of this climate crisis. They continue to lie and they continue to manipulate.
So critics of this new legislation, including oil companies and labor groups, say it will ultimately be a bad deal for Californians by driving up overall fuel prices. And San Diego Police Chief Scott Wall wants to add more smart streetlights all across the city. He and other city leaders gathered to highlight those successes that they've already seen. Now, there are about 500 in use right now, and in the past year, police say the cameras have led to the arrests of more than 160 suspects in various crimes. They've helped recover stolen cars and even helped locate a missing person. Chief Wall is now asking the city council to give his department the discretion to move those cameras from pole to pole when they see a need. It's a move that under current law requires approval by the city council, which could take months. Critics are also pushing back, saying there are already enough cameras throughout the city.
The question here is, when does it end? Every time that we turn around, the request is to add more. And just to remind all of our audience here, none of this is free. It all costs the city a lot of money.
Yeah, so a 5-year contract for the smart streetlights costs about $11.5 million. A police department spokesperson tells CBS 8 there is no estimate yet on what it would cost to expand that program. And the San Diego City Council is cracking down on pedicabs. The council unanimously voted 8-0 to impose stricter regulations. The measure aims to ban loudspeakers and will require pedicabs to give passengers an invoice with the agreed upon fare. The plan also makes it harder for pedicabs to fix a tip without the passenger knowing. Councilmember Jennifer Campbell was absent from Monday's vote. And you know it, we are working for you to get answers about a 4-story apartment building that may go up in Point Loma. The mixed-use building would be built at Rosecrans and Talbot Streets. It would have 56 units, commercial retail space, and 45 parking spaces in a basement garage. The developer is using a city program that leverages affordable housing units to get approval. Now, neighbors reached out to CBS 8 telling us that there have really been no opportunities for public input. They are also worried about the impact the project will have on the neighborhood.
The fact that they're only allowing 45 parking places, they think everybody's going to ride their bicycle and take the bus to and from this area, is ludicrous.
Yeah, housing advocates say these projects are extremely necessary and that San Diego has not built enough housing. The county tells us the property is owned by North Star Homes, LP. We have reached out for comment, but not yet heard back. Well, Walgreens is closing 1,200 stores across the country, and they are not the only businesses closing those stores. 7-Eleven, it says that it's closing 400 underperforming stores nationwide as well. Big Lots just announced it's closing its 4th San Diego County location this year, too. And San Diego-based Rubio's is closing more than a dozen local locations. Many closures are happening in lower-income areas, and community leaders say the trickle-down effect of the closures runs deep.
Those are jobs that young people can access and can walk to from the neighborhood often, kind of first job opportunities. That's a big deficit in our community and many other communities that struggle with poverty.
So economists fear more business will be forced to shut their doors as online shopping continues to grow. Well, a 2018 Parkland school shooting survivor is spreading the word in San Diego about what the younger generation can do to keep schools and students safe. Gun violence prevention activist David Hodge paid UC San Diego a visit just this week. He and his classmates have worked hard on gun violence prevention reforms, helping pass the red flag law and raising the age limit to buy a firearm in Florida to 21. He is now using his platform to encourage Gen Z to vote.
Generation is mad, and we're not taking it anymore, and we're getting out there. We're voting in record numbers. Not only are we voting in record numbers, we're also running for office.
Yeah, so Hogg continues to support the next generation of voters and politicians while sharing his insight at schools all across the country. Well, as mentioned, there is now a nasal spray that was developed right here in San Diego that can treat people in anaphylactic shock. The epinephrine spray could make it easier to treat people suffering an allergic reaction who may be afraid of needles. CBS 8's Abby Black talked with the CEO who helped develop it.
Instead of using epinephrine injection known as an EpiPen to treat a severe allergic reaction, a San Diego-based biotech company has been approved by the FDA to develop epinephrine nasal spray.
Just a 2-milligram spray of epinephrine in a nostril is now on the market to treat a patient suffering from a severe food allergy, venom, or drug.
It's painless, it's instantaneous.
Richard Lowenthal is the CEO and president of ARS Pharmaceuticals. They developed the nasal spray Nephy. They're a Sorrento Valley-based biotech company who is also behind the emergency nasal spray medications Narcan, an overdose antidote, and Valtoco, which treats seizures in epilepsy patients.
The absorption-enhancing technology we use, which is called Intravale, is a very, very safe substance that makes your nasal mucosa more porous. So it kind of makes it like a sponge.
The company is hoping Nephy can be a game changer. Medical studies show that 52% of patients with severe allergies do not use their EpiPen in an emergency because of the fear of using a needle. Caregivers are also hesitant for the same reasons, and any delay could worsen symptoms or even cause death.
And with a child, all you have to do is get it placed in their nose and push the plunger, and it takes literally a fraction of a second. And then they're medicated. They can't get it out if they sneeze, if they sniff in, if they cough.
Last year, the FDA asked Nephy for more data about repeat dosing. In August, they granted the company a fast-track approval for patients 66 pounds or heavier. Like most nasal sprays, the FDA says common side effects include throat irritation, tingling nose, and a headache.
And FDA did judge that Nephy should work as equally effective as injection products.
Lowenthal says about 70% of insurance companies have approved Nephy, but say it could take up to a year for all to make it available. Each prescription includes 2 doses that can last 30 months and survive up to 122-degree heat. The cost can range from a $25 copay up to $199. ARS says that it's offering a $25 coupon.
As comparison, the average generic auto-injector, EpiPen, for example, copay with insurance is $40. And without insurance is about $200.
ARS says that right now they're working on a lower Nephy dose for children as light as 33 pounds and eventually a spray for toddlers and babies. In Sorrento Valley, Abby Black, CBS 8.
Good stuff, Abby, thank you. Well, coming up, a new animal shelter is coming to Santee. We'll have a look at this week's groundbreaking and have more on all of the services it will offer. Well, after 9 months at sea, the USS Theodore Roosevelt is back home. The aircraft carrier returned to San Diego on Tuesday. This group of 6,000 sailors carried out missions around the globe from the Indo-Pacific to the Middle East. CBS 8 was there for the many emotional reunions there at the port. For many military families, this was the first time they've been apart for such a long period of time. Welcome home. Well, a new county animal shelter is coming to Santee. Howard, the County Animal Services CDO, or Chief Digging Officer, helped with the groundbreaking ceremony. The $37 million shelter will be located off Magnolia Avenue near the Walker Preserve Trail. We're told it will offer new animal housing, an animal hospital, pet adoption services, and a pet food pantry, as well as a place for families to bring their pets during disasters.
As you know, fire season hits us and we have to deal with emergency evacuations, and quite often families can't take animals with them and they need a place to bring their animals. And we work really diligently to make sure families have places to take their animals. This will be one of those places.
Yeah, the new shelter is set to open in 2026. And by the way, that little Howard there is up for adoption. Still ahead, this special surprise given to a local Navy veteran. Our Kirsten Holmes was there and shares his story next. As the saying goes, a friend in need is a friend indeed. And one local hero has friends all across the country and right here in San Diego, surprising him with a brand new car as a very big thank you for your service. CBS 8's Kirsten Holmes was there as retired U.S. Navy Special Operator First Class Christopher Maddox was honored with a free 2025 Honda CR-V.
Okay, so my guy Chris just got one of the biggest surprises of his life. I cannot wait to show you this story. You ready, Chris?
I am.
Let's do it. Oh my gosh, how are you feeling right now?
I'm in a lot of shock still. Like it's not sinking in right now. Like I don't know how to say thank you for this.
Chris, his partner Natalia, and their dog Remington are already in love with Chris's brand new Honda CR-V hybrid. Chris served from 2005 until 2016 and was a lead medic and lead breacher with SEAL Team 8 during several deployments in Iraq and Africa. His distinguished military service even earned awards. But after Chris medically retired from the military in 2016, he, like a lot of other veterans, struggled to acclimate back to civilian life.
Over the last couple of years, it's been really hard. So, yeah, now I actually get to go out and start living my life again.
Chris says he's been wanting to help people heal and recover, as he's had to heal and recover from so much, including healing invisible wounds like PTSD and moral injury after his service.
I was close to giving up completely, and now this is just like, it's so overwhelming to know that what I did actually meant something to people.
He often thinks of those he left behind in service, making it difficult to accept that he even deserves a gift like this.
There's men and women out there putting their lives on the line every single day for us. And I don't know. I'll never forget that, and I just hope our country doesn't either.
Wells Fargo, the helpful San Diego Honda Dealer Association, and Military Warriors Support Foundation's Transportation for Heroes program says not only does Chris deserve this brand new car, he's earned it, especially after sacrificing so much.
We look at it as every person we are able to help, we save lives. And so we look at it as a life saved.
This is basically giving Chris some of his independence back. We've been mostly relying on me to get us around, which I'm happy to help. I'm happy to do it. But this is huge for him too, to feel like he has, you know, his way to get around in the world on his own. Like, this is huge.
Kirsten Holmes, CBS 8.
Well deserved. Congrats and thank you again. That will do it for us. Thank you for your time as well. Thanks for staying informed. Take good care.